What does it mean for someone to be emotionally unavailable? Emotional unavailability refers to a person's unwillingness or inability to fully engage in emotional intimacy and connection within a relationship. People who are emotionally unavailable often struggle with expressing their feelings, offering support, and connecting on a deeper level with others. It's important to understand that emotional unavailability is often not a conscious choice. Instead, it typically stems from deeper underlying issues. These can include past relationship trauma, fear of vulnerability, attachment issues from childhood, or learned coping mechanisms to protect oneself emotionally. In relationships, emotional unavailability creates significant barriers. It can lead to one sided emotional connections, where one partner feels constantly rejected or unseen. Emotional unavailability is a complex pattern that affects one's ability to form deep, meaningful connections with others. Understanding this concept is the first step toward healthier relationships. While some signs of emotional unavailability are obvious, others can be more subtle, but equally damaging to relationships. The first subtle sign is a lack of empathy. Someone who is emotionally unavailable often appears indifferent to your emotions and needs. They may respond dismissively when you express feelings or fail to provide emotional support during difficult times. The second subtle sign is fear of commitment. Emotionally unavailable partners often avoid labels, are reluctant to make future plans, and keep the relationship status intentionally ambiguous. They might change the subject when commitment comes up in conversation. The third subtle sign is withholding thoughts and feelings. Someone who is emotionally unavailable struggles to open up about their emotions. They may give vague responses, change the subject when conversations get personal, and rarely share their deeper thoughts or dreams. The fourth subtle sign is prioritizing independence to an extreme degree. While independence is healthy, emotionally unavailable partners make decisions without consulting you, rarely ask for help, maintain rigid personal boundaries, and resist building a mutual support system. These subtle signs of emotional unavailability can be just as damaging as the more obvious ones. They're often dismissed or rationalized by both partners, causing a gradual erosion of emotional connection. Over time, this leads to feelings of loneliness, even while in the relationship.
Attachment theory, developed by John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, explains how our earliest relationships with caregivers create patterns that influence our adult relationships. This developmental cycle shows how secure attachment forms. When a child's needs are consistently met with appropriate care, they develop basic trust, the foundation for healthy relationships. Research identifies four main attachment styles that develop in childhood and often persist into adulthood. These styles affect how we connect with others emotionally. Secure attachment forms when caregivers consistently meet a child's needs. People with secure attachment find it easier to form healthy, emotionally available relationships as adults. Anxious attachment develops when caregiving is inconsistent. As adults, these individuals often worry about abandonment and seek constant reassurance in relationships. People with anxious attachment may appear emotionally overwhelming to partners. They often feel insecure, fear rejection, and require frequent validation, contributing to relationship difficulties. Avoidant attachment forms when caregivers are emotionally distant or dismissive. Adults with this style often value independence over closeness and struggle with emotional intimacy. Those with avoidant attachment often withdraw when relationships become emotionally demanding. They may appear emotionally unavailable, avoiding vulnerability, and keeping partners at a distance. Attachment patterns significantly influence emotional availability in adult relationships. Insecure attachment styles often manifest as emotional unavailability, though in different ways. Avoidant types withdraw and maintain emotional distance, while anxiously attached individuals may overwhelm partners with their needs, then retreat when rejected. As shown in this diagram, these patterns create zones of emotional disconnection. Recognizing these attachment patterns provides a framework for understanding the origins of emotional unavailability. This awareness can be the first step toward developing more secure relationship dynamics.
Setting clear boundaries is crucial when dealing with an emotionally unavailable partner. Boundaries define the limits of acceptable behavior in your relationship and protect your emotional well being. Boundaries are essential because they preserve your emotional health, communicate your needs clearly, maintain your sense of self, and create structure in the relationship. Setting effective boundaries involves several practical steps. First, identify your personal limits. Begin with small, manageable boundaries to build your confidence. Use clear, direct communication without blame or accusations. Follow through consistently to show you're serious about your boundaries. Be prepared for pushback, especially from a partner who's used to your accommodation. When communicating boundaries, focus on clear, non-accusatory statements. Instead of saying, "You never share your feelings with me," which sounds accusatory, try saying, "I need emotional openness in a relationship. When you shut down, I feel disconnected. I need us to find a way to communicate better." Boundaries can be set in various areas of your relationship. Emotional boundaries govern how you share and receive feelings. Physical boundaries define your personal space and comfort with physical contact. Time boundaries protect how you spend your time and energy. Digital boundaries set expectations for communication frequency and availability. As you set boundaries, remember that their primary purpose is to protect your emotional well-being, not to change your partner. Your emotional health should always be your priority. It's okay to enforce your boundaries consistently, even when it's difficult. Above all, remember that you deserve respect and consideration in your relationships. Remember, boundaries aren't about pushing others away, they're about creating space for yourself. Seeking professional help and practicing self-care are crucial when dealing with emotional unavailability. Therapy provides a structured environment to address emotional unavailability, both for the person struggling with it and their partner. Several therapeutic approaches can be particularly effective for emotional unavailability. While therapy is valuable, daily self-care practices are equally important for emotional health. Many cases of emotional unavailability are rooted in childhood experiences. Inner child work can help address these underlying issues. Building emotional resilience is key to maintaining emotional health, especially when recovering from relationships with emotional unavailability. Learning to process emotions effectively is a skill that can be developed through therapy and consistent practice. For couples affected by emotional unavailability, seeking help together can create new understanding and healing pathways. As we conclude our exploration of emotional unavailability, let's focus on the path forward through emotional literacy. Emotional literacy means developing the ability to recognize and understand your own feelings, categorize them accurately, and communicate them effectively. Building emotional literacy starts with focusing on your own emotional growth. Journaling and self-reflection are powerful tools for developing this skill. Healthy relationships are built on mutual emotional availability. In these relationships, both partners feel valued, respected, and prioritized. Recognizing the signs of emotional unavailability is the crucial first step toward change. This awareness allows you to take meaningful action toward healthier relationships. Professional support can be invaluable in this journey. Therapists and counselors provide tools and guidance for both individuals and couples working through emotional availability challenges. Remember that building emotional literacy is a lifelong journey that leads to deeper connections and more fulfilling relationships. Awareness is the first step. Change is possible with consistent effort, and everyone deserves relationships with genuine emotional connection. As your emotional literacy grows, so does your capacity for deep and meaningful connection.